All right, everyone, welcome back. Richie here. We're going to be talking about installing those updates that we skipped last time. I've made some adjustments to my video resolution. I still haven't gotten it completely fixed as there's still like a little black border around it. Plus, I want to try to zoom in so it's a little bit easier to see what I'm doing because I hate seeing videos that are so zoomed out you don't know what's going on. So I'll be making some adjustments as I do some more of these videos. But right now, we skipped the updates last time just because I wasn't sure how long it was going to take. So let's go down here. And I showed you the categories. Just another quick overview. The programming ones are all tools that I think are installed by default. These could change over time. But these are ones if you want to learn programming. They're what I'm going to be using in some future videos. There's an education one. There's only one tool here. The Office one is going to be the open source version of Microsoft Office. So they have like Word, they have Writer instead of Excel, they have Calc, and a couple other ones that you can look at. The internet, I've showed you before, the Chromium web browser is going to be the internet browser that we use. The Claws Mail, the sound and video, the VLC media player is going to be here. Graphics, they just have an image viewer. And there are some games that are installed by default that you can kind of play around with. And then the accessory is kind of just like the Windows ones, where you have Task Manager, the terminal that we're going to be looking at, and just some other ones like the calculator. There is a help reference built in so that you can click through and learn how to do some of these operating system tools that you might need. But what we're going to look for here is preferences again. This is where we found the screen configuration. You can do the Raspberry Pi configuration. There's also a recommended software setting, but you can kind of go in here to like the add or remove software. This is where you can install new programs. If you want to do like, hey, system ones, these are the ones that might help the system. If you want to look for new games, you can find those here. This is kind of be the software store. You're not going to know what these are. Because there's no pictures. So you're going to have to read like Beneath the Steel Sky is a classic 2D point-and-click science fiction adventure game. And there are a ton of games on here that you can install. There are different fonts if you're looking for fonts that you want to play with. That's all done here inside the add and remove software. There are some other appearance things. We're going to look at these next time. The Raspberry Pi configuration is pretty handy, because this is going to allow us to change some settings that we didn't look at last time. So by default, we set up that password. You can change it here. The host name, Raspberry, and I think the username is Pi, P-I. So it would be Pi at Raspberry. If we open a terminal, let's see if that's confirmed. Yes. So that's the name of our computer, Pi at Raspberry. So we're looking at that. Whenever you boot, you can boot to desktop or command line. If you want to auto log in, you can log that in. You can also disable this. I recommend doing it. I guess it really depends on what you're going to do. If you're doing it as a desktop, you'd probably want to disable it so that whenever someone turns your computer on, they would need to know your password to log in. You can do network at boot. You can wait for the internet to be connected. I always don't wait. You can also do a splash screen, enabled, disabled. I think if you don't do the splash screen, does it show text, commands maybe? It might show both. It might not make a difference, to be honest. You can hit OK if you want to confirm those. Or if we want to look at the other ones, go back to Preferences and go to Raspberry Pi configuration. The display, pixel doubling, you can enable that to make it, if you're having trouble with resolution, you can do screen blanking. The interfacing, if you want to do SSH, this will also allow you to set your Raspberry Pi up so that you can FTP to it to do like a file access transfer stuff, which we're going to be showing. And then the localization, this is where my computer had trouble getting this stuff, but you have the localization here, time zone, keyboard, and if you want to set your Wi-Fi country. So I have mine plugged in. That's why it has the Ethernet connection here instead of the wireless. If you went wireless, you would have to go ahead and connect that here. What we're going to do, though, there was one other option here, recommended software. If you want to install recommended software, which maybe... All right, so that gave me an issue anyway. So let's try to do some updates and see if this might fix some of my issues. So to do that, you open up your terminal and you would type sudo apt update. What this command does is, and let's see if I can make this bigger. So let's zoom in. That didn't even change the text size, did it? Maybe a little bit. Hopefully that's easier to read. I guess I can hit shift and see how much bigger I can make this. All right, so sudo apt update. What this is going to do, I think it's just making the entire window bigger and not so much the font. Maybe I'm wrong. That is much easier to read. So here we go. The sudo apt update, that's going to check all of the web sources that we have listed in our Raspberry Pi to see if there are any updates available. So it's not actually going to do any of the updates. It's going to go ahead and ask, do we want to accept changes? It looks like there's one that is kind of outdated. So we're going to go through and accept these to try to get our Raspberry Pi here completely updated. So we're going to update or accept the other repository changes. And so now it's telling me that I have 347 packages that can be upgraded. So the first thing we did was we ran sudo apt update to check for them. Now we're going to do sudo apt upgrade, and we're actually going to upgrade the software and things that need upgraded. And this will probably take a while, so I'm going to be ending the video here. What you'll want to do is you might need to do it a couple times. It might actually auto restart. If you check that box to have yours update while you were doing the install, you might not have to wait for this. This is a good way to do it once you have the Raspberry Pi completely set up. So I'll let this go, and I'll see you in the next video. Subscribe, make sure you don't miss them, and thanks for watching.